about Facebook? You're now speaking to people of Facebook. I mean, is that, are you actually doing this, or do you have? All right, well, let me back up. Do you have a staff?
I have a small staff, and no, I'm actually doing it
because you've got a very small staff.
Yeah, in fact, this morning I posted, last night, couldn't sleep. This is so typical. Couldn't sleep because just kind of burning in me again was this reminder, and I'll use Facebook to remind Americans that I'm hearing them as they're on this book tour, and they're coming up to me and they're whispering to me, or they shout it loudly. They say, we got to get this country back on the right track, and the things that are going on now we don't agree with. Why aren't they listening to us? Why isn't Congress listening to us with health care reform, for instance? So couldn't sleep last night, just wanting to put, you know, my thoughts, my heart on paper, being able to do that via BlackBerry, and then post it this morning on Facebook. Yeah, those are my messages, and just want to let the American people know, as was going through my mind last night, I hear you, I'm there with you, I want to do something about it. And asking Americans too, keep the faith.
How do, I mean, you haven't said you're going to run, and I'm not going to presume you are, but I mean, in the back of your mind, you must think, how can I reach the people who don't agree with me?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, it's easy to reach the people that agree with you. How do you reach the people who are a little farther to the left and way far to the left from you?
I think that those people are going to start seeing that the direction of our country right now has got to change, and whether they agree with me personally on my values or some of the issues that I've really grabbed hold of and tried to progress with, whether they agree with that or not, I think what they're going to agree with is that we have to build a stronger nation economically and in terms of national security. And the things that I'm standing for, they're just such common sense measures that have to be undertaken in order to get there for America with national security, with the economy. I think they're going to be agreeing with that, but I'm never going to please everyone. There's no need to even try to please everyone. Some people will, if it comes from me, they'll automatically not like what the idea is or what the position is.
So how do you win over the people that don't? I mean, who may have that sort of knee-jerk reaction? If you want to talk to them, if you want to reach them, at least have them consider what you have to say.
Well, for instance, the book is a good tool to get. Hey, read the book. And if you still don't like the positions that I take, or if you don't like who I am after reading the book unfiltered through the media, then so be it. You know, I'm never going to win you over, but at least give me a shot there in trying to figure out who I am, what my record is, what my accomplishments are, and what I represent. And then, Greta, if I can't please them, I can't please them. I'm not going to try. I'm not going to change who I am or compromise my positions, my values in order to placate or try to get some demographic or some group of people on board with me if they just don't get it.
Is it fun to be a politician, or is it rough? Or, I mean, how do you describe it? I mean, I guess, I don't know if you're a politician right now. You have been historically. Yeah. You're now an author, I guess. I don't know. That's what I call you today, I guess. But I think of your career as a politician. Is it fun?
Public service is fun.
How about the rest? I mean, because there's a lot to it. It's not just public service. I mean,
the public service, the administrative tasks, I love it. That's why I've loved my job as governor. I love my job as a city manager, a strong mayor. I love those positions of affecting change, of helping people, and I love that. Some of the crap that goes on the periphery, it has a lot to do with the media making things up and trying to create a caricature. That stuff's not that much fun, but so what? We plow through that stuff so that I do anyway, so that I can concentrate on what the administrative tasks should be, how that change should be affected, and how to hear from the people and message back to the people so that we're all on the same page as we're trying to progress on an agenda. So some of the stuff on the periphery that is obviously not a whole lot of fun to go through, plow through it, put up with it.
You know, it's sort of interesting. When I was reading your book, I thought that the part that, I don't know, that struck me, I guess everyone takes a piece that strikes them, is that the 3-week period between the time you learned about your son, Trig, and the time you got to tell Todd, because you want to tell him, there was he was on the slope, North Slope, and you want to tell him in person about your son. I can't imagine a tougher time in a person's life.
Yeah, it was kind of a lonely time. I mean, having the news that I wasn't able to share it yet with Todd, but also a good time of introspection too, to figure out, wow, how am I going to handle this? Knowing that Todd would probably handle it better than I would initially, and knowing that I was going to draw strength from him, it was refreshing, of course, to finally get to tell him, and then we moved together on how to handle the situation. And as expected, yep, he handled it well. He saw the good and the challenges in the news at the same time, and he's just been awesome through all this. And of course, Trig, now that he's here, can't imagine the world without him. He's amazing to us, and he's perfect to us. We love him more than anything.
I sort of wondered in reading it. I mean, everyone reads the book, you know, with his own eyes or her own eyes. And I know that horrible, wicked rumor about, you know, whose child Trig was, and I wondered, I sort of wondered if that 3-week period, because you were sort of silent about it as being, you know, governor and being the public eye, I wondered if that was sort of like, you know, people didn't realize what was going on in your life, and so all the sort of the rumors get rolling. I wondered if that contributed to it.
I don't know, but you know, that stupid tinfoil hat conspiracy that some people, they still won't let go of it. You know, they're still...
It's still on?
Yeah, they still bug my doctor about it. They still bug my attorney, and they bug us about who's Trig's real mom. It just, I don't know, it's just indicative.
Cruel. I mean, it's really up there on top in terms of cruel. It's really up there.
It just makes absolutely no sense either. You know, no sense at all. But yeah, people just, I think there's some shallowness and some loneliness in people who want to perpetuate such a thing, and that stuff isn't that much fun to go through. But again, I've said this before, that those kind of personal shots, those kind of political shots too that we take, at the end of the day, they don't mean a whole lot. Not when you consider that real devastation in a person's life is losing a child, or having an ill parent, or losing a job and not knowing how you're going to take care of your family. Those are the things that really matter. So all of this political, personal tabloidization of me or of my family or of my record is it's quite ridiculous. It is such a waste of time. So we don't waste our time on it. We plow through it, as I say, and we move forward.
But it's you know, they're not doing this about other candidates right now. I mean, so it's, I mean, you're the one who's the target. I mean, to the large extent. And like I said a moment ago, I said Secretary of State Clinton's gotten a hit. Is it a gender thing?
I think a lot of it is a gender thing, and I think that women's rights groups who don't come out and say, hey, I may not agree with her policies, but the things like Newsweek did the other day, putting a picture of me in shorts on the cover of Newsweek, that's sexist, that's ridiculous, and I'm going to call it like I see it. Some people say, well, you kind of sound like you're whining or like you can't handle it. Bull, I can handle it, and I'm speaking up for other women too who may go through things like this in the workplace or in other arenas. I'm saying, you know, enough is enough of that kind of stuff. I expect to be treated equally, not with kid gloves, but I expect that if I'm going to be called out on something, I expect that in a campaign, for instance, my opponent better be called out on the same thing.
Well, a lot of women might say that if you know, if you don't fight, you're going to get it back at you again. But the other thing too is that oftentimes when women complain, they're whining.
Yeah, and I don't buy into that.
I don't either. Oh no, I don't.
You know why, Greta? Because I tried both ways. I went through months of not fighting back, of just zipping my lip, A, for fear of being charged with something up there in Alaska as the governor for speaking out on something that wasn't state business, because I've been through that too. But B, because it is a tough call. What do you fight back on? Some of the shots that are taken, you have to weigh the pros and the cons. What I decided was, I won't necessarily fight back on all the petty stuff, because that just would waste my time, and since it's 24 hours a day, I'd never get anything else done but fight back. But when they come attacking my kids, when they touch my kids, like any other mom in our country, I will fight back, and I'll set the record straight, and that's where I've kind of drawn the line and say, nah, you don't touch my kids.